Hey, what's up, friends and neighbors? Been a while. Look who I'm on. A little bit of Delores action tonight. Had a movie night at a friend's house, and now I'm headed home. It's like 11:30ish. Yeah, 11:30. 11:30 at night. About 35 minutes to home through deer infested waters. So gotta kind of take it easy a little bit, but we got the old trusty Cyclops headlight, and man, it's nice and bright on old Delores here. It had been a while since I ridden her, and really very little riding on her since I got back from South Dakota back in September. So I hadn't even gone through the rest of the gas. Had to basically had to drain the tank. I didn't want to run that old gas through her. It had been sitting in there. Drain the tank, put that in the lawnmower, or will, and put in a gallon of fresh gas, and she started right up. Made sure her oil was looking good. I changed it when I got back. I mean, I know it had been sitting, but hadn't been sitting that long. Re-lubed the chain, gave her a bath, re-lubed the chain after that, and rode her to work the next day. Do a brief stint here on the freeway. See, I've got the windscreen on. I didn't take it off after South Dakota yet. I did take the little extender off. That thing made a hell of a difference, let me tell you. But it also really, like in high wind, high speed, this whole thing was just walking around. But it made a heck of a difference in terms of the noise that I hear with the wind hitting my helmet. It made the South Dakota trip way more comfortable of a ride, but on those high crosswinds it was dancing around. I don't know if I got any film of it doing that, but it was alarming, just whipping around the whole damn thing. But it helped. A couple of weeks ago, I've been off a bike. I haven't really ridden a bike. It's been almost 3 weeks until like Thursday this week. I rode Delores to work, and I was riding the Triumph, and you know, I've been complaining about my hips, and my hips have been hurting, and but something happened while I was riding the Triumph, and I was in like agony. Like it was 11 while I was riding the Triumph, and my hip was hurting when I was off the bike. It was hurting when I was walking around. It was hurting when I slept. And my right hip, especially. Left one not so much, but the right one has been my most problematic one. And yeah, I don't know what I did. I moved in a certain way, you know, like I was just trying to shift positions a little bit, and it just like a hot dagger jabbed me, and I couldn't move my foot on the peg at all. Like I couldn't use the foot brake, the rear brake at all. Like I couldn't move my foot forward for that whole ride home, and I was like, oh shit, something happened. And you know, I've had this orthopedic appointment set. It's a week from Monday, and looking forward to hopefully next steps of whatever the treatment's going to be, because you know, I've still been continuing my physical therapy exercises, and I think they've helped, but something's gotten worse too. I don't know. I don't know if I just pinched a nerve that day, but like I don't notice it on Delores because my legs are closer together, and I don't have to be up as high with my knee in comparison to my chest, or above my hip rather. It's like straight across, like I'm just sitting on a bench kind of. But yeah, that was scary, and I've been in really a low place since then. You know, I've been really even before that. Excuse me. As I've been riding more, my hips have been hurting a lot more, a lot worse, a lot longer. I did like a 270-mile trip, which I filmed part of, but I probably won't ever post. It was to get out to the coast, to get one of the P&W GT points out there, and that was encouraging because I was stopping every hour. I'd stop for 10 minutes, stretch, give myself a rest, but mostly stretch. Get off the bike, stretch, move around, and you know, I'd get to about that hour mark, maybe about 45-minute mark, where the discomfort would get to the point that it was distracting, and I'd stop, get off, stretch. I do like quad stretches and stuff, and then I'd be okay. I'd get back on the bike and I could go for another hour, and that was really encouraging. I was really quite worried about that because of the South Dakota trip. That's kind of my approach. So I was planning to take, but I hadn't really tried it, you know what I mean? So that day I tried it, and it worked okay. And then most importantly, like the next day wasn't that bad. And that was my other big concern, was that even if that's okay, am I going to be okay doing that multiple days? And I think I would have been, but after what happened on you know, 2 or 3 weeks ago, now I'm not so sure, because that was bad. Like I haven't ridden the Triumph since then. I did sit on it yesterday, and I was not comfortable. So I'm not sure what my future is going to hold with that bike, which sucks because I really love that bike. But I don't know what else I'm gonna do. You know, Delores is getting a little long in the tooth, and probably more importantly is that I don't want to deal with carb issues again on a long trip. You know, that sucked. And you call me a chicken shit or whatever, that sucked. I could have done it. You know, I did have Dave Verbal Widgets help. She was running okay to a point, but yeah, I had to cut my trip short because I didn't want to take her to even higher elevations and have more problems. I had been to the elevations that I was at without problems, so I knew something was wrong, because I'd been over some of those passes without issue before, without any issue, and she still wasn't quite right when we were there. Better, but not 100%. So now that so whatever it is, it's exacerbated by elevation. I haven't had the carb back apart. I'll probably need to do it again since she sat for a little bit, but so far I've had good acceleration and no issues. So I don't know, and I'm kind of rambling now, just filling time while I ride home. But the other part is that I was super comfortable riding her, like more than even on the GS. The only problem was those crosswindy days and trying to keep up with somebody. If I didn't have to keep up with somebody, I wouldn't have noticed anything, except in the crosswinds. Coming home, that sucked, but she did it. But I don't know that I'd want to do that again on the DR650. I proved that I could do it. That was kind of what I wanted to do, was like, yeah, this bike can do it all. And it can. I don't know that I can do it all anymore. You know, since I've started having more hip pain, my desire to explore has gone into the basement. And the reason that is because when I'm off by myself and on a road I'm not familiar with, like, I have to be able to get my feet down. I have to be comfortable, and I need to be able to do it potentially because I don't know where, you know, I don't know the terrain. I need to be able to know that I can do this safely. And on Delores, like, she's tall, you know, she's taller than the Triumph, and another dual sport would be too. I have poor lateral motion with my hips, so like I can't reach out far to the side. So if something were to happen, my flexibility is such that I can't. My hips literally won't let my legs spread out far enough to catch myself off to the side, and it's very noticeable, and it's been getting worse. When I look at the things I used to be able to do on the CRF 250L compared, and even when I started riding Delores, when I, you know, that was 5 years ago, and I look how far my flexibility has gone down, and I'm more flexible than I was last year, but not in the way that will help with that kind of, like, if I have to catch myself by putting my leg way out, like if the bike leans way over or something, or the ground is off kilter or whatever, I can't catch myself, and that's going to be problematic. And on the Triumph, there's some days where I feel good, and other days where I'm like, I'm going from point A to B, and that's it. And that sucks when all you want to do is ride around and just, you know, just cruise around and look at things, or go places you haven't been, and unfamiliar roads where you know you might have to stop and, you know, turn around in a tight area, or an area you're not familiar with, and you don't know if you're going to need to put your feet down. I'm pretty good at making a tight turn on the Triumph, but you never know. You know, you don't know what's going to be in the road, or how off kilter the road's going to be. Sometimes it helps to be able to steady yourself and if I am in pain by just moving my legs around, I'm a little slow to get my legs down, and or just in pain when I have to do it, and so I avoid it. And I think that's what it comes down to, more than not being able to do it, is wanting to avoid that pain. And I certainly don't want to do any more damage to myself, let alone do damage to the bike. Alright, well, not sure which way I want to go here. We're gonna go this way and hope we don't. Either way, I'm like going past parks and stuff where there's a lot of trees, a lot of deer. I'm really nervous about hitting a fucking deer. But anyway, it's been nice to be back on Delores. That was the longest I've gone without riding a thumper, because Delores has been my main bike. My CRF250L was my main bike, you know, really my only bike at the time, and Delores was my only bike for a long time until I got the GS, and I still rode Delores as my main bike, except for the South Dakota trip I took the GS on. So going from the nice smooth Triumph back onto a thumper, it's like, wow, now I know why people say they're buzzy. You know, I didn't know any better, and now that I'm back on her, I'm like, oh, it does feel rough, because it's just that big piston moving down there. It feels rough, but it's normal. It just takes getting used to after. Oh shit, I went end of September to almost end of June, so 9 months on a different bike. I didn't want to ride her after the gas had sat. You know, I had started her up a couple times late last year after I got back, but after the gas was sitting in there, I didn't want to start her again until I got that old gas out. So, you know, I gotta go back and reply to all the comments on my last video if I ever post this one. I feel kind of bad about it. I've really been in a position where I pulled back from social media for a lot of different reasons. I don't want to go into most of them. Part of it's just being an introvert, but there's a lot more to it. Been kind of in a weird place, a weird headspace, and just pulling back from all that, and you know, even commenting on other people's videos. I have watched a few live streams and been in the chat for those. Whoop. Commented on, you know, a couple videos here and there. I made my Instagram private. I removed a couple followers, but yeah, it's private now. Obviously, if you follow me already, you can still see my stuff. I'm not going like all the way dark, but. And I've been really contemplating stopping my YouTube channel, you know. Not deleting it, but not really participating anymore. For a lot of reasons, a lot of which has to do with just, I don't know if you've ever heard of the dead internet theory. There's a lot of evidence that that's happening, and where it's just basically AI slop and bots talking to AI slop, and it's you know, you're doing all this stuff, providing this big company with income. Not that, you know, my shit's not generating that much income, but it's out there, and anybody can do whatever with it, and that company can do whatever with it, and it just seems counterintuitive to what YouTube used to be. And it doesn't, I don't see it getting any better, because you watch that stuff, if you've ever seen it, and you'll know it when you see it, but some of it is it looks legitimate, but it's just, you know, AI voice over. There's a few voices that I find super annoying, that a lot of channels use, and it's quite obvious that the voice is, you know, been reused by other channels, and inflections aren't quite right, but man, the channels have like hundreds of thousands and millions of views, and it's just like, dudes, what? What are you watching and commenting on? This is not real. It's not a real person. But then there's like obvious bots just commenting and driving up hits, and somebody's, you know, making money from this garbage. And a lot of it's just recycled from other people, like it's stolen, you know? Anyway, it's just disheartening to see, you know, being around and on, you know, actively on the internet before most people had broadband, and being around when, you know, and technically involved. When YouTube came out, when it was, you know, before Google owned it, and seeing some of the stuff that came out then, and just what it was for. Like, it was just, you know, it was literally, you know, boob tube for you. You know what I mean? Anyway. So, just about home. You probably recognize this road. I'm not gonna blither too much longer. Got a couple more turns before I cut this off. We'll see if I post this. If I do, it should be in the next day or two. What is today? Today, well, for a few more minutes. A few more minutes. It is July 5th, 2025. Sorry, I had clicked the phone and was trying to point the camera at it. Hopefully it showed up, but I was trying to look at the road with my eyes, with the camera looking at the phone to see the clock. Oh, what's this now? What are they doing? Weird. Wow, I really gotta watch for deer. There's a lot of deer in my neighborhood. So, Anyway, I bid you all good night. I hope you all had a safe and happy 4th of July. Those that are in the U.S., my friends and neighbors up in Canada, I hope you had a good Canada Day a few days back. Hope everybody's safe. Stay healthy out there. Ride safe. And I will catch you on the flippity flip.